Pop quiz. What do two lifelong friends from Atlanta, a New England chaos gremlin, an indie yarn dyer, and the reincarnation of a very much still alive Wes Anderson have in common? Is it some kind of like strangers on a train murder mystery? I mean, maybe. I haven't asked them, but they are some of my favorite YouTube creators. Hey, so if you're new here, and let's face it, you probably are, my name is Elizabeth, and I am a relatively new knitter. I've been knitting for less than a year and a half, and I'm terrible at it, but I have really great taste in yarn. So if you'd like to see me fumble my way through various projects with nothing but a lot of profanity and a can-do attitude, then you should definitely subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I upload every Saturday. I'm a relatively small channel, so every view and every comment, every subscription, they all mean a lot to me. I thought it would be really cool to take a moment and talk about some of my favorite inspirational YouTube channels. The stuff that I really look forward to watching after a long day, sitting down in front of the TV, getting out my knitting, and just mindlessly knitting while being entertained by some really smart, funny, cool people. So I've divided this into three different categories. The first category is vibes. These are the people that I watch just because their energy is something that I really respond to. They're usually channels that I just feel like relaxing and settling in with. So getting started with the vibes. My first channel is one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time, Two Sisters Knittin' Talkin' Shit.
Hey, Miss Peaches.
Hey, Miss Regina.
How are you?
I'm good today. Excited because...
Are you going to ask me how I am?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Miss Marian and Miss Regina are icons. They are fantastic. They are two friends from Atlanta, Georgia, who lost touch for a little while, but got back in touch through the magic of knitting and are part of a knitting circle where they live in Atlanta. And they have a YouTube channel where they just catch us up on the stuff that they're knitting. They joke with each other. They offer advice to their viewers. And it's just so warm and so friendly and so fabulous. I think the algorithm served me their very first YouTube video when it had maybe 500 views. And I've been a knit shit ever since. That's what fans of Two Sisters Knittin' Talkin' Shit call ourselves. We are the knit shits. And I am a dyed-in-the-wool knit shit. Am I gonna get demonetized for saying knit shit a lot? I hope not. Well, it's not like I'm monetized anyway. I have like 40 subs, but it's fine. All 40 of you should absolutely watch this channel if you haven't already. They also do really great live streams periodically. It's always really fun. I'm always in the chat. I feel a lot of camaraderie with the other people who watch the channel. They were doing such a fantastic job of creating a community. Like I said, I started watching them, I think, when they had a relatively small number of followers, and it's just ballooned up, and it's been so deserving. It's been so great to see. I absolutely love Miss Regina and Miss Marian. Probably my favorite video is episode 5, Knitting Our Way to Freedom and Justice. I believe they filmed it or it aired on Dr. King Day in the United States, which also happened to be the presidential inauguration. And it was just really delightful to see them talking about their childhoods, their parents' experience, their experience growing up in the South, their personal connections to places that I've been when I lived in the South, like Selma, Alabama, or King Memorial Baptist in Montgomery, Alabama. It was just really lovely to see and to hear them reminisce. And yeah, it was just what I needed that day. It's one of my favorite videos. I've rewatched it a few times now. Anyway, definitely check them out. They're so much fun. The community is great. Couldn't recommend them more. The second vibes-based channel I really have to recommend is Breathing Yarn. Isabella is like if you had a friend who also was Wes Anderson if she happened to be a woman in her 20s. Isabella has such a great eye, and I don't just mean for her knits. Her cinematography, her color grading, the way that she edits, her choice of music, the way that she story tells, all of that is really fantastic. And she's very open and very approachable in the way that she makes her videos as well. It's very much the kind of thing that, even though she's way, way better at knitting than I am, it's very much the kind of thing that makes me feel like, yeah, I can do that. Isabella is who inspired me to tackle the rib lace raglan by James N. Watts, which I'm now, making. I'm trying to idiot-proof this as much as I can, but James N. Watts has never met an idiot like me, I guess. And it's so frustrating. I want it this summer. I want it so bad. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I feel so stupid. And I hate the feeling so much. If James N. Watts sees this, help me. You're my only hope. I had to frog it 4 times first. It almost drove me to have a mental breakdown, but it's working now. And I never would have tried that pattern if it weren't for her influence. She's a woman in STEM. I've been making video games for 15 some years. She lives in a part of the country that I spent a lot of time in before I moved out of the United States. So yeah, I just really like her. I encourage you to check her out. Probably one of my favorite videos by her is the one that got me to click on her channel, maybe one of the all-time greats as far as YouTube titles go, which is Knitting for My Stupid Mental Health. I feel like that video is a great microcosm of what makes Isabella's videos so cool and unique. Although I have to shout out her latest series about how to self-draft. She recently put together a video going through her ideal sweater construction using paper cutouts. And it was so approachable that I feel like I could self-draft something now. And I mean, I feel like I should be able to self-draft something now. I don't actually have the confidence yet, but I'm way, way closer. And it's thanks to that video. It's really, really cool the way that she thinks about things. Yeah, just highly recommend. So moving on from vibes, we've got inspiration. These are the people I go to because their taste is immaculate. The way that they think about what they make, everything they make, the kinds of patterns they like. If I want to find something that I think I'm going to find cool, these are the channels that I go to. And the very first channel, the GOAT when it comes to inspiration, as far as I'm concerned, is Michelle at Easily Knitfluenced.
I'm picking on Petite Knit here, nothing personal, I love her, but this is just silly, guys. Like, you do not need to order this very fashionably colored, I will admit, it's kind of a cafe au lait color cord from Petite Knit that is going to ship from Denmark to hold your stitches.
She is no nonsense, so put together, so straightforward. There's nothing I don't love about her. She reminds me of so many female friends that I have that other people have called intimidating, but in a way that I just find absolutely delightful. Like I would hang out with her any day of the week. The way that she approaches the things that she makes, her very strongly held opinions, all of it are just things that I absolutely love. I don't always agree with her. She's never gonna like variegated yarn. And in fact, I've noticed myself drifting more towards tonal than variegated lately. So I might in a year be like, no, she was right the whole time. It turns out I was the one who was wrong. But even so, like, all of the patterns that she knits, I'm always like, oh, that's cool. We're both super into Ozetta. Yeah, if you're looking for tasteful, interesting, unique patterns and want to see how they knit up, definitely check out Michelle. Also, her eye makeup is always on point. That's not why I watch, but it is something I look forward to when I watch, if that makes sense. Probably my favorite video, and I'm cheating because this is more of a series because I think she's done it a couple times, is Will I Knit That? So these are knitting pattern hot takes where she goes through whatever happens to be popular on Ravelry at the moment, and she asks, will I knit that? Yeah, or no, and here's why. And it's just off the cuff takes based on vibes when she's looking at a pattern. And it's so interesting to hear her talk through the way that she makes these snap judgments. And it also introduces me to a lot of patterns that I wouldn't have thought of before. I also have to give a very special mention to her Japanese knitwear roundup. I think it's her most popular video, and I would be very surprised if that wasn't what kicked off sort of the Japanese knitwear fad on YouTube. You see a lot of much larger channels sort of going down Japanese knitwear rabbit holes, and I think that Michelle is the one who started that trend. And it's so cool to see that coming from somebody who's half Japanese as well. I think that was the first video I saw of hers, and it really made me sit up and take notice and be like, oh, this woman has taste. Speaking of women with taste, I need to talk about Kendra at the Balanced Skein.
I think the armholes could be a little bit deeper for me, but I do like the V-neck. And I also think I knit it a little bit too long. I wish I would have knit it a bit more cropped, and I wish I had a bit more ease in the body. After failing pretty much 3 out of 3 times, failing to bring my best vision to life, I took a pause.
Her mind is just on another level. The best way to illustrate that is just to start talking about the videos that I'm going to recommend, which is actually a 2-part series called Curse of the Sweater Vest. Kendra goes through her quest to knit the perfect sweater vest, and she starts by talking about all of the sweater vests that she's ever knit before. And then she goes to Pinterest and she makes a Pinterest board of all of the sweater vests that she can find on the internet that she thinks look really great or that attract her for some reason. And then she looks at all of the things those sweater vests have in common. And then she goes down a Ravelry rabbit hole, filtering for things that are exactly like that. And then she finds the perfect sweater vest pattern for her. And that just blows my mind, because usually the way that I find patterns is I stumble upon them, go, oh, pretty, and then put it in my favorites, and eventually I might make one. Kendra is more organized than I will ever be, and her taste is always so great. The vibe of her channel is very relaxed. It's very calming. It's very soothing. I really enjoy the very relaxed but very, very knowledgeable vibe that she has going on. Kendra's fantastic. So moving on, educational channels. These are probably the two biggest channels that I'm going to recommend. One of them I'm almost certain you've heard of, and the other one I think you probably haven't. And I'm going to start with the one that you haven't because it's not technically a knitting channel, but it is my favorite YouTube channel of all time. This is a channel about menswear, which I know sounds very weird, or if you don't know me in real life, probably sounds very weird. I have had a special interest in menswear for, I don't know, a couple decades probably. I used to ghostwrite for a men's fashion blog in the early 2000s. I've always thought that menswear was much cooler than women's wear. I collect some menswear stuff. I don't know what it is. I just really like menswear. Don't judge me.
I was saying I'm going to take a little break because I like to take a break in the middle of filming and have a snack. And yesterday, I already filmed this video once and the microphone died again. What's wrong with you, stupid thing? But the reason it was a big bummer was because I went to the store. We had the footage so I could show you. Look at the size of this freaking apple. That was the biggest apple I've ever seen. And I got it before I went to go film. And I literally was like, I cannot wait to put this giant apple in the video. Some things you just can't replicate, but you can certainly try. Got another one. Okay, now the big question, is this fancy selvage denim more durable than your regular not fancy denim? No. Well, yes.
But the thing about Michael Christie and the Iron Snail is that by the time that I got into knitting, I had learned so much about garment construction and fibers and what to look for, that so much of what I was quote unquote learning about garments from knitting made total sense to me. I was like, oh yeah, Michael already taught me about staple lengths. Oh yeah, I already know what a raglan construction is. And it was really cool to be able to put those things together. I have never learned so much while being so wildly entertained at the same time. The clip that I used to illustrate the vibe of the Iron Snail, Michael's channel, literally when that whole sequence happened, I was watching it with my husband and Adam paused the television and turned to me and said, nobody is doing it like Michael Christie. And I said, right? Like his cinematography, his editing, his graphics, the way that he approaches everything. If I'm ever half as entertaining or half as informative as Michael, I will be doing very well indeed. Yeah, the vibes are off the charts, but I learned so much as well. I really can't recommend it enough. If you watch one channel that I'm recommending, I would strongly suggest that you check out one of Michael's videos. And the video that I would probably suggest that you start with is 10 expensive clothing items I don't regret buying. One of the things that I appreciate so much about Michael's channel is that the ethos behind it is very much in line with the knitting community, as far as it's about knowing where what you're wearing came from, being sustainable, being local, being traceable, knowing the history of it, having garments that are going to last you a really long time. And that's also an ethos that Michael really lives with the clothing line that he started called the Iron Snail, which I believe has its own YouTube channel called The Tale of the Iron Snail, which you should also check out. But even if you don't know what you would get out of a menswear channel, I think watching that one video, you'll sort of see the thought behind the channel is something that you can really get behind. That said, if you or somebody that you love who might be watching YouTube with you is into menswear, I do have to warn you. My husband did not give a single shit about clothes until I started watching The Iron Snail. And he started watching The Iron Snail with me. And now he has single wash Japanese selvage denim and t-shirts like Carmi wears in The Bear. So it can be expensive, but it's also just so cool. Definitely check him out. The other educational channel I have, I'm almost certain you've heard of if you've stumbled across me, which is Wool Needles Hands.
A lot of us really love to take those heavily variegated skeins of yarn and stick to things that have a small circumference. So we can take something like what you see on the screen here and turn it into something that looks like this. We're leveraging those real beautiful blocks of color to create this really unique striping. Now, when it comes to the thing I said to avoid previously, this may not be what you're looking for. And if this is not what you're looking for and you really don't like that psychedelic striping, you're definitely going to want to knit things that are larger with those heavily variegated skeins of yarn, because that's going to help distribute the color more widely, giving you much less crisp definition and striping.
Taylor Earl in Henderson, Nevada is so fun and smart and does such great deep dives on a wild number of topics. I would say probably my favorite video of hers to check out is Tips to Avoid Sloppy Looking Knits. But she has so many different series and so many different deep dives that you could check out. I'm not somebody who can watch educational channels like Nimble Needles that are just close-ups on people's hands or talking specifically about knitting techniques, because I have terrible depth perception. So if I watch a video of a knitting technique, I can't tell what's going on. I need pictures and a written instruction, or I need somebody in the room with me moving my hands. But I've learned so much from Taylor. Her content is exactly the kind of content I need in order to be able to level up both as a knitter and as somebody who purchases yarn. So I would really highly suggest you check her out. I've also bought a little bit of her yarn, and let me tell you, it's not bad. Last but not least, Miscellaneous. These are just channels that I like, and I don't know why I like them. I just like them, and I bet you will too. I'm gonna start off with the hairy knit.
I would wake up in the mornings really stressed and annoyed, and I could feel myself getting angrier, more frustrated each day. And I think what I struggled the most was just trying to balance everything, because at the time I was really loving making YouTube videos. I was working as a DJ. I was making content on TikTok and my own main Instagram, making videos about my country, Brunei. But because I was balancing so many things, it felt like I was going to eventually fall and collapse.
That's Bash Harry. She's in Brunei. She also, shout out to Bash Harry's eye makeup, because it is on another level, people. She's like the coolest cool girl that you've never met. When she's not running her own knitting business, which she left law to do, she DJs. She started the first craft fair in Brunei. She runs like a writers guild. She's just so cool. And it's really interesting to me to see the kind of things she knits, because maybe you could find two climates that are more different than London and Brunei, but it would be challenging to do so. It's really cool to see somebody on the other side of the world with the same hobby as me who approaches knitting from a completely different set of needs and set of circumstances. Like, let's be clear. YouTubers are not your friends. They are people who put together videos to entertain you. But when I'm consuming content by people, I want to consume content by people who remind me of my friends, if that makes sense. I have a fairly diverse set of friends, and I think that there's a lot of YouTube videos out there full of people who all look the same. Don't get me wrong, like I lived in Denmark for a year. I have a lot of Scandinavian friends. But it is really cool to watch a video from Bash where she's talking about how it's been a little while since she's made a video because she's been tired and cranky because it's Ramadan and she's hungry. And like, girl, same, but not because of Ramadan. Yeah, she just has a really great vibe. She's very sweet, very open. Probably one of the most interesting videos I've watched of hers recently was her video where she talked about quitting her 9-to-5 to start a knitting business. And a lot of what she talked about as far as like why she quit her job, and she was very clear. She was like, look, do not quit your job to start a knitting business just because I did it. A lot of her perspective about what her day job was like and what it was like working in that environment really resonated with me. And a lot of what she is sort of chasing by starting her own company was really inspiring to me as well. I really recommend that you check out that video and just check out her channel in general. I think it's great. She also designs patterns. She has some really cute patterns that I would suggest that you check out as well on Ravelry. Mark Vogel.
This one happened at the local shop where I work. So again, setting the scene, I'm surrounded by yarn. I'm wearing a name tag that looks like a sheep. I've got knitting in my hands, and I'm wearing something I've made. And I get the question from a stranger, someone I've never met, and they ask, Did someone wonderful make that sweater for you? And I didn't know what to say. If it had been asked without so much tone, I think I could have answered easily like a normal person. But tone carries a lot of weight. The way you highlight a word, the way you really lean into things with a question. So when I heard, did someone wonderful make that for you? I just didn't know how to answer. My initial thought was, yes, I think I'm wonderful and very humble, and I made it for myself. So yes, someone wonderful did make it for me. The wonderful person is me.
He is a sweet, funny, interesting guy. When he's not working at his local yarn store, he is a professional musician and he travels around doing choral music. So he talks a lot about traveling, he talks a lot about music, but he also talks a lot about his knitting patterns, his experiences sort of as a man working in a yarn store. He has adorable pets, he has an adorable husband. He's just a really cool guy, I think. Probably my favorite video from Mark. He started a series where he's reacting to instances of knitting in old TV shows. There was a great one that he did about Murder, She Wrote, but my favorite one was more recent, where he talked about the infamous Gilmore Girls knit-a-thon, which made me want to be part of a knit-a-thon. And his husband was also there giving commentary, and it was just really funny and charming. And yeah, a lot of fun to watch and knit while he knit and watched. It felt like being in a room with people and just sort of talking about the show that you're watching. I really enjoyed it. Another miscellaneous channel I love is Woozy by Celine.
Speaking of cute, my friend, I have found the cutest cardigan on the face of the earth. It's the Moonbow cardigan. Now I know I always talk about food, but when I saw those pockets, I couldn't help but scream because they're the same shape of my favorite pasta, which is farfalle, okay? Actually, let me see if I've got some farfalle in my cabinet. Who am I? I don't have farfalle in my cabinet. Wow, cancelled. Never mind. I was convinced I was gonna have farfalle, but I don't. Anyways, did you see those pockets? Are you joking?
Celine also lives in London. She is close friends with the woman who runs my favorite yarn shop in London, Beautiful Knitters. And she just is really, I hope she's not offended if I say that she is charmingly chaotic. It's so funny because she definitely has a vibe. If you don't listen to the words coming out of her mouth, if you just looked at a still picture of her, she has a vibe of somebody who's very put together, very serene, very aesthetic. And then you'll watch a video and she'll start crying over a pasta shape because it's so cute, or get super excited because she's taste testing a new pastry while she's out getting yarn. And the vibe is just so fun. I really enjoy seeing her videos because of the ways in which she incorporates knitting in her whole life. So a lot of times it'll be like a vlog of her day or something like that, but there's also knitting going on. I think I like that because that's how knitting works for me. It's something that just sort of permeates my whole life. And so after I've watched a video of Celine's, it feels weird to watch a video that's just about knitting, because it's like, do you really keep that as separate from the rest of your life as everything else? And this is probably, me working from home, knitting all the time in meetings, knitting in front of the TV. My hands are constantly going. It's a miracle that my hands still work. I don't know. I just really like the vibe. If you're going to check out a video of hers, she has a really great series called A Knitter in Wherever. So I think she's been to Cologne, I think she's been to Paris, I think she's been to Barcelona, Milan. She's Italian, so she goes back to Italy a lot, which is cool to see. And I really love travel, I really love knitting, so when she combines the two, that's probably my favorite. And then finally, last but not least, my sister in new knitting, although God is she better than me, Renee at Adventurer Knits.
Normally the cables are stored in here too, and when you'd open them, the whole bunch of spiraled cables would unfurl, and it was driving me mad because every time I wanted to change a needle tip or do a sample, a swatch or whatever, it would unfurl. So I happened to have this nondescript not leather, why did I say leather? Vinyl case laying around that we got from somewhere.
Renee is one of the first people to ever have commented on my channel, and I absolutely love her channel as well. It's doing really well, and it's so great to see the knits that she's making. I think whereas my vibe is a lot more, oh my God, I can't believe I messed this up. There's so much more just pure joy, like the pure joy of being a beginner on Renee's channel. And I just absolutely love that. The things that she's learning, like she is still very open about like mistakes that she's made or things that she's learned. And I feel like I learned so much from her. I feel like she's like, when I watch her channel, I feel like it's a big sister giving me advice about knitting. And it's just something I very much aspire to. Like the kinds of projects she's able to pull off already are amazing. But if you're here, then you probably are at least mildly entertained by new knitters. And I would really suggest that you check out Renee's channel, Adventurer Knits. One of my favorite videos is actually one of her more recent videos, which was episode 28. I think it has great knits and a really great perspective. She's also done a recent video on wool yarns she's discovered that are great for sensitive skin, even though they're not superwash. And that was really cool to me as well. I think it's always really neat when people who are relatively new to something still find ways to educate others. And that's one of the things that I really love about her channel. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you check out some of these channels. They're definitely channels that inspire me, keep me going. And you know, if you've ever wondered what somebody with 40 subs on YouTube watches, these things. This takes up pretty much my whole week. I really love these channels. I really love you. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And I hope you have a really great day. Thanks. Bye.